Hi, welcome to Alpha Omega Radio Composer Interview. My name is Moreno, and today we head down to the Bronx, where we interview Brugal. He recently changed his name, and he tells us the whole story. So stay tuned for part 1 of this 2-part interview. So we're actually recording this interview from the Bronx. I can't help in your live shows to notice your tattoos.
Right.
What's the story behind your tattoos on your arm?
Okay, I can show right here. This is the 2 and 5 subway bullets, the train, I guess, logo designations. These are my local train stations.
Right.
And this right here is an outline of the Bronx.
Oh, wow.
Not the Liberty Bell. It is the Bronx. Yeah, it means a lot to me. I feel like my goal has always been to break out of New York City and to do other things, but so to be grounded in one place and to have an appreciation for the community here is important to me.
Let's talk about your new album, Mute.
Right.
It's the successor to the album On One Condition. How are these two albums connected?
On One Condition was an album I started working on in late 2008, which was an attempt to really express feelings of hopelessness, depression, anxiety. I really tried to create sort of mood music to communicate those feelings. So On One Condition was sort of the experience, the conscious experience of those problems, whereas Mute is kind of taking a similar approach to the way those issues affected my dreams, my subconscious.
And how was the name The Pants originally conceived?
It was conceived as it was a sarcastic take on the importance that people placed on names in chip music. I felt like there was a lot of people at the time I started making chip music that tried to make catchy names, names with the word like pixel and bit and beat and things like that, and so I was trying to be sarcastic and. Yeah, it was a sarcastic take on it.
So everything was like try to reference technical things, like maybe a Nintendo or...
Right. To kind of, I felt some folks were trying to cash in on kind of the nostalgia associated with chip music, and that was...
And you decided to just take, it was literally pants? Like
it was
as
pants.
Pants and shirts and shorts?
As in clothing, yes.
Cool. Since moving forward, you're gonna stop writing as The Pants.
Right.
How do you feel about how that name is gonna be remembered?
I guess ambivalent is the word. I feel like, it's hard to make music under that kind of name. It was a very divisive name. I think half the people who listen to my music are heartbroken about it ending, and half of my friends are relieved because it's such a silly name. I want it to be remembered as a really raw expression of human emotion. I feel like the name itself could have been a barrier to that, but I feel like my run under that name, I put out a lot of music that really communicated that feeling, and I hope it resonates with people.
What made you decide that this album would be the end of The Pants?
Well, two major things. One was timing. I felt like I found a new name I was more comfortable with. Well, not a new name, but a name I was more comfortable with right around the time this album was due to be released. Also, I felt like the previous album I made under the Pants name, called Survival Tactics, really didn't fit the Pants name all that well, and I felt like it was time to make a switch at that point. I felt like my new name would have fit that album a lot better, so the writing was just kind of on the wall.
Alright, so it's a different style, different, the name would fit better with this new style, this new direction.
Right.
Cool. I want to talk about some of the tracks on Mute. What would you say was the most challenging track? Maybe a track that took longer to make and create?
Well, it didn't take longer to create because I had more momentum, but the most difficult track I think I've ever written actually is called Walking Like We Were Shot Through Our Heads. It's, I think, the third track on the album, or fourth. Because that was a super fast song. I was way out of my element, and it was more carefully composed than anything I'd ever written before.
The last track there, the last track is actually Mute, right?
Right.
It's self-titled
Closer. Yeah.
It actually finishes in a way that, you know, kind of brings everything down, like a plane coming down. What was that purposely put there?
Yeah. It wasn't the last song I wrote for the album, but as I was writing it, I knew it would be a closer. I felt like the way the track builds and ends was either the perfect way to introduce the album or end it. So I had planned on kind of doing one or the other. And it made sense as a closer because I felt like what I was trying to communicate on the track really combined everything you might have heard throughout the album before.
Right. But moving forward, you're going to start writing under the name Ricky Brugal.
Yes.
And you have already performed live already under that name. How did it feel to say, look, this is my new name, this is my new tracks?
It was extremely exciting. I worked hard on preparing brand new material for this kind of unveiling and for the first performance, so super exciting to do. When I was there at the show, at the venue, it starts to feel a little weird, hearing people call me by a different stage name and being introduced on their new name, but it felt really good. I feel much more confident in the music I'm making now.
And it was a pretty big debut too. You know, it's part of a bigger. It was like a part of a bigger conference.
Yeah, the Hackers on Planet Earth conference.
There's a lot of people there.
A lot of new faces.
A lot of new faces, definitely.
I thought made a lot of sense considering this is kind of a new beginning. So
yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah. What does that name Ricky Brugal mean to you? Where did it come from?
It's actually a nickname from my oldest brother, Juan. He was kind of going by the name Johnny Brugal, and I was insanely jealous. I thought it was like the funniest, coolest thing. And I was talking with him and a few friends actually. Paul Weinstein, who makes music under the name Chippercrit. Carl Pazinski makes music under a bunch of names. You might have known as Radlet, played at Blip. They both did. And talking to both of them, it kind of really, it made sense to switch to this name because a lot of what I was trying to do, communicating humanity, raw emotion, taking an autobiographical approach to music, made sense to have a name that was more of a proper name, that was a nickname given to me. It just fit.
Yeah. How does social media work into it? Is it an easy transition? Are you able to kind of just switch off the name, or do you have to start from scratch? How has that experience been?
I think the challenge is it's easier than I thought it would be. The challenge is that in the areas where I thought I could just kind of switch easily, I couldn't. New website, new Bandcamp, new Facebook page, all that. But another part of the challenge is folks who will still think of me as the Pan, so will not really see a transition there, which is fair. But that's a challenge to work through.